Welcome back to the book club. Mozzie, and I'm your host, Xeno. Today we're going to be discussing the Dresden Files Full Moon. Chapters 1 through 5 today. Hope we're doing good. Alright. Good morning, Wander, Christy, good to see both of you.
Much faster than I am.
I've been trying.
It always takes a long time to go live.
I was holding off a second, and then I was like, I'll just go ahead. There you go, I see.
It's the time. Timing is perfect. Your timing's perfect. I'm a little delayed, but it's okay.
Mozzie looks snug as a bug in his little hoodie.
Oh, I'm so snug. You have no idea. I'm so snug. So snuggly. I do not have coffee today, but I have a little bit of G Fuel, and that'll make do. Do you have your coffee?
I just ran out.
Coffee and you're ready to go? Oh, no.
I'm good. It'll be fine.
Christy, Wander, hello. Hi.
How have you guys been?
Hi.
Oh, all right.
Good morning. No coffee. No, I got a little caffeine here. So, it's the juice flavored.
The juice flavored?
It's called the juice.
Oh, the juice. Oh.
Mhm.
What?
I don't really know. It's like a watermelon berry kind of flavor. I'm not sure. I'm gonna use the rest of it and then order some Dubby, I think. But I got a little bit left to go, so.
Doesn't even sound like a flavor either.
The juice or Dubby?
Either one. The juice sounds more like one.
Well, I have this one, which is Blood, Sweat, and Tears.
Ooh, see, that's...
It's cinnamon flavored. Hey, Andrew, it's not that great. I have most of it left.
That sounds bad, yeah.
It's not great. I was curious, and my curiosity got the better of me. Andrew, baby, how you doing? Good morning, all you wonderful, beautiful, fantastic people. Hey, you. I heard people like it, but not for me. The juice one or the Blood, Sweat, and Tears? Juice. Actually, I'm not impressed by either of them, to be honest.
Oh, we's in the juice. Yeah. Good one, Chris.
Ooh, some cheese. From Cheese for Andrew. Nice.
It doesn't smell like pinky cheese. Catch up on the beard club. Yeah, it'll take a minute.
You're allergic? Yeah, a little bit, yeah. Takes a hot minute. At least 9. Well, depending on your growth rate, I guess. Hackers up, dude. I'm putting together a file of what I can download from the server. I don't think it's going to be any help to you, but I'll send it to you and see. If it works, then you can host it if you want until I find a new server host, and then I can host it for everyone to join. That's really... We'll talk about that later. Anyway, I guess we should do an intro, right? I'm Wolfman Mozzie. I'm comfy today. Hope you're comfy too. I'm joined by the amazing, illustrious...
Zeno. Sorry, Emmy just walked in the door. Hi, I'm streaming.
Hey, Emmy.
Can you wait? Okay, you can have my phone. Here you go.
Do you have games on your phone?
No, I think something. PlayStation? I don't know.
Thanks for the cheese. Absolutely. There was a painter that wasn't impressed by the juice people either.
Who's this painter?
I don't know. Is it Bob Ross? Amazing.
The late Bob?
The illustrious. Oh, and booze? Booze?
Ooh.
You always share books, cheese, and booze.
That's
nice.
Pretty generous, I
think. What a combo. It's very generous, yeah. Very generous indeed. Well, today, we're going to start book 2 of Dresden Files by Jim Butcher. I always want to call it Foul Moon, but it's Full Moon.
It looks, yeah.
I always get messed up.
But yeah, it's definitely Full Moon. Fool. And who's the fool? We don't know yet. Is it Dresden? Maybe he's going to be played as the fool.
Ooh, maybe. he's being kind of a fool in the first couple chapters, but we'll get to that in a second. At least I think he is.
A little bit.
But again, we'll get to that in a second. I guess, yeah, we'll just dive straight into it. Chapter 1 starts us off at one of our favorite places. I always mispronounce it too. I want to call it McAlley's, but it's McAnally's. There's an N.
It's hard to say, yeah.
But it's hard to say.
Macanala. You just, yeah.
Macanala.
I think that's more Scottish, I guess.
Max
McNally.
But
say it like that, Mac. That's actually...
we get introduced to a new character. An apprentice, somewhat. An occasional apprentices.
She's been around Dresden. She's learned some things. He's helped her out because she has innate gifts.
Zardy and PJ Pumpkin Jack. Hi there. What a name. Welcome on in.
Pumpkin and PJ and Jack. I like all those things. Good.
I know, right? A lot. You like it? I like pumpkin. Her name is Kim Delaney, who is questioning Harry about a magic sigil, I guess, or a spell that at first he doesn't want to tell her or doesn't want to talk about it. But again, much like the first book, it talks about him being poor, and she offers to buy him dinner in exchange of information. He's like, I don't remember the last time I had a good meal. I've eaten ramen and whatever for weeks now, because he has not gotten some work from from Murphy in a hot minute. So he finally agrees because his stomach growls continuously. Ramen and soup, that's what it is. Yeah, I just remember the ramen.
I love the whole thing that he's doing there. Like, he's just like, I don't want to tell you about this. This is really dangerous. You don't need to deal with this whatsoever. This, and then he's just like, but I'm so hungry, and he's like, I can't, in good conscience, eat this food without giving her, some information. So,
right,
all right, you
should just call it Max Pub. That's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah, Max Pub. Yeah, that's easy peasy.
Yeah, it's easier. But yeah, he's like, I need to earn it. So he's
a man of honor.
He eventually accepts. He is a man of honor. That's true. It's one of the things I like about him. And he goes over this, much like how we found out in the first book about circles and protecting things from outside, keep things inside. This has three circles that are kind of like interlocked or something. The outer circle is a barrier against the spiritual and magical forces, which is what he used against Toot and the I don't remember his name, the demon frog demon from the first book. Then the inner circle is a spell barrier against the flesh, so anything like material, human, bullets. And she's like, kind of like a force field, and he's like, yeah, sure, kind of. Then he says the innermost circle, he says, is a mistake. Gobbledygook. It doesn't mean anything. At least that's what he tells her. Internally, we find out that it is a. Well, he explains to her as well. It's a circle meant for both a creature that is both magical and physical, or made of flesh. But he withholds the information that it's a barrier for like the most powerful demons, eldritch things of the outer reaches of the Never Never. It is a cage for demonic demigods and archangels. That's kind of intense.
It's crazy, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, okay, we saw a demon, and even that was scary. But like an archdemon, or what do you think of an elder things of outer reaches of Never Never? Or do you think those are the demons, or do you think those are other?
I mean, that could be just about anything at this point, honestly, with our current understanding of the Never Never and what little he gives us to go on here. This is something, it's high magic, which means it's like, this is, top of the chain here, so this could really be something very serious, but it's, we don't really get much information at this point.
Other than that, yeah, and the fact, like you were saying earlier, that he's protecting her from this information because it's stuff that she shouldn't dabble in. And she made the comment like, well, you're like the same age as I am. And he's like, yeah, but I started when I was like 9, and I'm an awesome person and like a pro and pretty cool dude.
He does. I
And you're
like
just
how
not
he
ready.
was like in his head,
Wear your
like
PJs,
I
suck it.
have a lot of innate talent as well, but I'm not gonna go
Yeah,
into that. Like I'm
yeah, I'm
really
not gonna
good, just
brag.
gifted, but he's like the gifted kid in the
Right.
class, you know. Ugh.
Hey, John. Good morning.
And what's up, man?
Um, and he kind of like plays dumb. He's so bad at lying. Murphy could see through it every single time. Most people could. Kim can see through it and doesn't believe him. Because he's like, she's like, what creature could be of like magical and flesh? And he's like, nothing. It doesn't make sense. So
Totally.
weird.
Wow,
Like,
no
you're full of
way.
shit.
And then she storms
Yeah,
out of there and gets all. Ugh.
all huffy. Yeah, she storms out. Right as Murphy walks in. And they have this very weird interaction, which makes sense because she's ghosted him for like how many months was
few
it?
months,
It happened
he
in
said.
spring,
Yeah.
and it said it's October now, so it's been a while.
Got called in on a
Hey,
few
OG, how's it going,
things, but nothing. Yeah, I was very quick. No kidding around
dude?
anymore. Just like, just little
Yeah,
things. And then
they joke.
apparently there was some other thing that was, you know, in the papers that he alludes to at this point, uh,
Yeah,
causing some sort of.
that one of the papers. I don't remember the name of it, but was just kind of slandering him and stuff. Calling him a hoax, and apparently that's what people are just reading, which comes up a little bit later. But and they have this whole back and forth where he kind of like ignores her and is just like, yeah, you're not long time no see, blah blah blah. And then she's like, I need your help. And he's like, yeah, okay. Uh, some people have died. There was a killing, and he's like, oh, okay, let's go. All right, it's serious. Let's go. Which she kind of smiles and smirks too. And that's it. He's like, all right, business time. Let's go to work.
Straight
We'll
in
put this
chapter one.
penis aside.
Like there was
Yeah.
like a little bit of a startup, kind of like a bit of a recap with just a few things, not too much, which is what I really liked. It was kind of very brief, very light. Like, hey, this stuff happened with some wizard some months ago, and now our relationship's on the rocks, and da 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 da.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit into that never never stuff as well. Oof, starting
Yeah.
already.
It's starting already. It's starting off good. Thank you, OG, by the way. I don't know if you heard me say it earlier. Thank you for stopping on by and not using the redeems. I did lower the volume, so you guys can use the redeems. I won't really hear them. You will, though, I think. Then we roll straight into chapter 2, where Murphy declines taking the Blue Beetle. She's like, no, we're taking my Saturn or whatever. So they kind of like, it's kind of a quiet tension. They drive off to the crime scene. She's speeding, which he notices, and it's like, oh, what's going on? She's like, we need to get there quick, or we need to get there before someone else, and she
Pulls
doesn't really answer him.
the classy line of "Where's the fire, Murphy?"
Yeah, yeah. So cheesy. But yeah, they speed off. They head out of Chicago's jurisdiction, their city limits, and come to a. I was gonna say abandoned, but that's not true. It's a building that's under construction. The outside's finished, but the inside is still under construction. And they go in and come to find out it's the new varsity. The varsity, which was the club that Marcone owned, that in the previous book got burned to the he burned it to the ground. Book club, hey Melted, welcome. And this is the new one that's under construction, and he's just kind of like Harry, being he, just is kind of like wandering through, just kind of aimlessly, and almost like steps in the blood. And Murphy's like, "Whoa, back to reality, dude." And apparently there's just like blood everywhere. Like I can't remember. He said how thick it or how deep it was, but I don't remember how deep. But it's just like it's bad. Yeah, it's really bad. And then he follows it and finds the quote unquote body, which is more just like a pile of meat. It's just
His
bone.
face is ripped off. His eyes are gone. Like
His lip were ripped off as well.
his arms are like, just little floppies, shredded.
It is a body that has been
disemboweled.
eviscerated.
Ooh.
Oh yeah, like the smell. He was talking about the smell and everything, and it was just super intense. But he still Well, he says he thinks he recognizes him, and it is Spike, which is or was one of Marcone's bodyguards because of his spiky hair. But the body looked like it had been killed by almost like animal-like attacks. There had been ripped, there was biting, there was tearing. Like I said, just being eviscerated. And he's just kind of taking in the whole scene, which was kind of interesting because he, much like the murder scene in the first book, it was very human. Like it was hard for him to look at it and like stomach it, and he said a couple times he had to like physically force back down his fresh steak.
And Murphy had a bucket for him.
Bits, exactly.
That first one.
Oh, that is such a great point, Hacker. That is all the soft tissue, and normally animals go for the soft tissue first. So that is a very good point. All the tasty bits. And then he starts like looking around again and like doing a little more thorough investigation. Finds that there because everything's covered in like that plaster dust. If you ever worked on house or walls or any sort of construction, you know the plaster dust that just kind of gets in everywhere. Drywall, thank you. Yeah. There was a spot that was clean, like where a body had fallen. Like I think he guessed it was Spike had fallen and like rubbed it clean, so it was just like an obvious struggle. And then there was a paw print, but he said it was too large. It looked like a paw print. It was very much canine, but it was too large, which at this point, my mind, well, that and like the title of the book, I'm just like, werewolves. I love werewolves. I don't know about you, but big hairy monsters chasing and ripping and tearing. It's pretty thick, pretty legit. Got around to do some shopping. Take care, Andrew. BRB. Hopefully see you soon, my dude. He found the footprint. He found a window that was smashed from the outside, and found some glass with some fresh, still moist blood. I don't want to say fresh, but still moist blood that he deduces that that is from the killers, possibly, and wraps it up and pockets it. Werewolves and zombies. Yep, werewolves and zombies for me. Love them. Absolutely love them. And then just kind of, and then like looking through the glass, he sees the almost full moon and kind of like pieces it together finally and is like, oh, you have a problem. This is big. This is bad. This is serious. And then he kind of like just turns to Murphy and was like, he kind of fits all the puzzle pieces together. Like, when was the last killings? Were they 14 days ago or whatever? Last full moon? She was like, yep.
4 weeks ago.
They were indeed.
Or 4 weeks ago? Month, okay, yeah.
I don't know moon cycles. 4 days? And she's like, yep. And I'm the only one who connected the moon cycles as well. And she finally asked him, like, Harry, are werewolves real? And he's like, yep. Sure are.
Oh,
not really what you think they are, but they're real. And he shows her the paw print and all that good stuff. And that's when the FBI shows up. Before that, though, how soon did you put together a werewolf connection? I mean, it was kind of obvious, like I said, because of the title of the book. But
the title of the book, they already talked about the moon. Like, it was... Mm-hmm. I was just waiting. And then he's ripped up to pieces by some sort of dog-like animal. I was already werewolf ready. So
yeah. It's the most obvious, but it's also... It wasn't a disappointing obvious.
It's not,
like,
yeah.
Yeah, werewolf.
Yeah, exactly. It's not like... It's a good... Especially, like, we don't know too much about this type of werewolf at this point at all. We don't know any details or what their act like in this particular version, I guess you could say.
Right. We got ourselves some Twilight werewolves. Hacker says zombie werewolves.
The werewolves would be cool.
That'd be terrifying and awesome.
Freaky deaky.
That'd be sick. So yeah, then the FBI shows up. What before I get into them, what did you think about the FBI? There's 4 agents in total, and I'll go through their descriptions and their names, but
They
what did you
seem
think of them
they seem
right
like
off the bat?
trouble, right? Like I don't know. Like he shows up. This guy's obviously like throwing his weight around, being a jerk, not letting Murphy do her job, and just trying to take over and being like, "You're not welcome. Get out of here," kind of
He's
deal.
Zeno's talking about Agent Phil Denton, who is the one in charge.
He is, ugh, I don't know. Yeah, shady AF. Christy says, "Yeah, I don't. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
shady. He seems somewhat. I don't know. Like there could be something involving him or what he's there for. I don't know why he would be poking around, but I mean, we got the other people and the one agent. Of course, what happens next? They're telling him to get
Yeah,
out of there and trying to take
yeah.
Murphy.
And if it was just the one killing, then you
Oh
know
yeah,
it would be understandable. But we don't know how many. Or at least I don't
yeah.
remember how many.
And how many
But
are
in the
related? Right?
car, yeah, in the car somewhere along the way, Murphy tells Dresden that there's been multiple killings.
Yeah. So because there
More in a
was
second. But
like some gangbangers, which could be drug related.
yeah,
That's totally on there. But then there was like other ones, like an old man outside of a store,
yep.
like and
And then a rich man.
yeah, enrichment. So just some random ones as well
There's an old
as
lady too.
some
I
Marconi ones.
forgot
Yeah, and
the
an
old
old
lady
lady.
was like, "Oh no."
Like
Yep.
wrong place, wrong time. Because I mean, werewolf's still gonna kill if it's just a vicious, non-thinking, but animal.
If it's like we would normally think about werewolves, like full moon, they're out of control. They are either out of control or they don't have full control.
But
So,
this is definitely some control. It seems from. I
yeah,
mean, they're going after some
restrictions.
very particular marks, obviously.
Yeah, we'll get to that a little bit later. Exactly the connection there. But beforehand, like you were talking, so we had Agent Phil Denton, and then we have the female agent. Well, yeah, actually, I think it's the only female. It is.
Yeah.
We have Agent. One of the nice things too, you don't know his name is Phil Denton at the beginning. You just know him as Agent Denton, and then someone else in a second kind of gives the first names for him. But Agent Phil Denton, guy in charge. I wrote non-believer by the books. It's just kind of like your atypical, let's just say FBI agent who's just like investigating supernatural stuff and is like, well, you can explain everything. Anyone who gets in my way, I'm gonna bury him, and like just your kind of normal stuff. Then we have Agent Deborah Ben, which is I didn't write down a whole lot of descriptors for her. She's super intense. I think Harry described her as a gray-maned female agent. I thought the gray mane was kind of a interesting visual.
Interesting. Yes.
But super serious. Only one visibly armed. Which for an FBI agent it has to be 100% intentional. Like they're trained to not show weapons and like conceal like everything. Hey, Wander, Scully but less pretty. Yeah, kind of. Yeah, Scully but less pretty. Exactly. And I thought that was interesting. And then there was like this altercation where Denton was like, Murphy, you don't have jurisdiction here. What did I tell you? Get out of my way, and all that. And then he tells Ben to escort them out, and that's when Murphy kind of goes. She plants herself and gets really stubborn, like, no, you're not throwing me out of this crime scene. And then a lot happened really fast, and I feel like I missed some of it. But
So the
then
yeah.
Deborah did some like weird kung fu move that Harry didn't really know, and then Murphy parried it and slammed her into a wall, and then Ben drew her weapon, the visible one, and Harry like jumped into Murphy to push her out of the way, and the gun went off, and they're like, "Whoa, okay." Again, you're an FBI agent. You're trained in like discipline and use of accurate force. I guess I don't know. I'm not an FBI expert. And to let a gun go. Well, I mean, obviously she was trying
To
to kill her.
draw a gun on a fellow police officer. Like, what is
Yep.
going on here?
Yep. And you're right. Just drawing the weapon is a huge red flag. The fact that she shot as well, which she obviously meant to kill her, or at least severely wound Murphy, was just super intense. And like me, I was like, okay, something else is going on here. There's no way an agent would actually do that unless there was something between the two or something else was going on. So I was kind of waiting for that. Was very open with her weapon. Yeah, she was very open about the weapon, exactly. Someone didn't have their safety on. Naughty, naughty. True. That's so true. There was no firearm discipline there.
I see. I think it was meant that way. It was meant to be.
That is.
Yeah, that she was gonna.
That is true. It did. The book did say that she hesitated for a fraction of a second, but
fully
still.
intent. Like an agent of that level, you're not gonna have your safety off unless you want it off, and you're not gonna discharge. Like maybe Dresden bumped her, sure, but it sounds more like she was totally gonna just pop her right there, and Dresden saved her.
Yeah, that was intense. And then everyone else from outside rushed in, the police and the other two FBI agents, which the first one is like what they describe, or what Harry describes, as a redhead kid. His name is Roger Harris, which is very interesting because he's the only one who doesn't introduce himself as an agent. He just said, "I'm Roger Harris." And I was like, either you're like fresh, and I mean, he refers to him as a kid, so he's obviously like new. And then there's the older, overweight FBI agent, Agent Wilson. I didn't get his first name. They didn't say it. But Roger was the one who's like,
oh, sorry, she's been stressed out and stuff. And
yeah, he was like, go easy on Deborah. She knew one of the people that died, or one of the people who was killed. And then Agent Wilson was like, shut up. You shouldn't be here. You need to worry about internal failures. You have enough on your plate. Blah, blah. Get the hell out of here. And which is, I don't know how I feel about Roger, the redhead kid. Because like a lot of that, he was like, he awkwardly smiled at Dresden and Murphy when they left, and he was like being nice.
Yeah, he's trying to be pleasant. He seems like a nice individual. That he seems like he was just doing his job, as far as I could tell.
Yeah. And that might be just part of him being new, but Wilson tells him to get lost, and that's when we kind of find out that Murphy's been under a lot more scrutiny and stress than she let on originally, with internal affairs and everything. And then they go back to the car, and I think it ends there and just kind of rolls right into chapter 3.
Yeah.
What did you think about? Well, first off, weird question. Who's your favorite agent so far?
Favorite agent?
Do you like any of them?
I mean, the only one that seems likable at all is the redhead kid.
True.
Trying to be pleasant. Everybody else is absolutely or something's up. We'll find out, I guess. I don't know what's going on there, but I don't like him.
I agree. I think they're just going to get in the way. I think all of them are just going to get in the way. I actually kind of likened Denton to Morgan. I see a lot of similarities with both of them, and how Morgan just got in the way in the first book. I feel like Denton and probably all of them are just going to get in the way in this book. They're just going to mention that she should worry about her own stuff. Yeah, Denton does, and so did Wilson. Like, they kind of hinted at it twice, but they go back to the car. And rolling into chapter 3. No, I'm sorry. I think this is before. No, it starts before chapter 3 because chapter 3 is them driving back. Before they get a chance to do that, she goes to like start the car, and Harry snatches the keys, and they have this moment of like addressing. At least that's how I felt. Addressing their situation, like how they're not really friends anymore.
Yep.
And she says sorry for losing her cool and all that with Deborah. And then he realizes like he hadn't really thought about her perspective of what happened in the first book. And then he starts to think about it, and then he starts feeling guilty. And then he says sorry to her, and they kind of mend that bridge a little bit, because she's like, if I'm gonna let you in, you can't lie to me. And he's like, I can't promise that. She's like, okay, we're done. Like we can't I can't let you in. And then he finally is like, okay, all right, yes, I promise. Before, do you think he actually promised? Like, do you think he's gonna break that promise? Do you
No.
think he meant it?
He's
or?
a man of his word. No way. He's gonna honor his. That's why he said, like, I no way I can do that. And she's like, all right, no, you're not in. I can't rely on you. And he's like, okay, all right, I get it. And then he also realizes that he put her in that hot water. That he's put her in that situation, and yeah, he still got that honor, honorable guy mentality, and he sees, as he said, a damsel in distress, and he knows it is an outdated way of looking at things, but he still wants to help her and fix their relationship that he pretty much ruined.
Yeah, and Christy also said that there are some things that he's not allowed to talk about. That's what tears him up. Yeah, like with the magical side, that the White Council deems that you can't talk about any of this like particular stuff with humans or non-magical people, and he has to follow that rule as well. I agree. I think he means his promise, but there's certain things that he's not going to be able to tell her, and I think that's where it's going to create problems. But we'll see how it goes. I think that's how it's going to go. I don't want it to go that way. I think he should just tell her and bring her completely into the fold. But
he might just.
He has to worry about the White Council. So
let's
maybe,
find out.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. And then roll into chapter 3. They start their drive home or drive back. Not as like bat out of hell speeds, but more chill ride. And then that's where Murphy says that Denton is an ass, but he does his job. Like, we can trust him not to fight dirty, essentially. Whereas it sounds like Deborah might, obviously. And that's where I kind of put the connection between Morgan. It's like, well, Morgan's an ass, but you can trust him to do his job. And I thought that kind of...
Yeah, that's fair.
That mixed with the first experience kind of made sense. They're very similar. Or could be very similar. She goes a little more in depth of how whenever she brings in someone as an investigator or consultant, that she has to trust them fully, and then that's where that all kind of broke down. Actually, I got my timing off. All of that we just talked about right now mostly was in chapter 3 as they were driving back. It kind of blended, let's be honest. They talked about it a little bit before when they got in the car, and then they talked a little bit more about it on the drive. So,
and you did say this was the start of chapter 3 where they got in the car. So,
okay,
yeah, you were there.
I thought I jumped a little bit.
No, you were
good. Rolling into chapter 4, she explained a little bit more about how the internal affairs happened and how they're kind of putting her under a microscope with, everything that happened with Marcone and Victor Sales, and the lack of evidence that they had for like any of it, because obviously like it was magic. The Scorpions were obviously, so they essentially found Victor Sales on the first floor with puncture marks, well, whatever's left of them, puncture marks of like a dozen giant scorpions in his chest, like Doberman-sized scorpions, and a demon that just devoured him. So whatever was left, that's what they found.
I mean, the house did burn down pretty much mostly, so his body would have been charred up pretty bad. But they did find some of, or at least they said at the end of the first book, that they found some of the drugs, at least, so they could at least link the drugs.
They did. And the Beckett's were...
Yeah, and the Beckett's got busted, for sure.
Yeah. So there was still a lot of holes.
It was very, and especially, I guess they bring up the fact that Dresden had an APB put out for him, and then she rescinded it after that. So now they were like, "Ooh, that's something's going on. You're working for somebody." So maybe he's working for, Marcone is what they're alluding to, like that she's in Marcone's pocket, essentially. That's why people think she's dirty.
Yeah, or at least suspect it for sure. And the fact that there was a rumor, which no one denied, including Harry, that Harry was hired by Marcone to take care of Victor Sales. So if she is okay with Dresden or working with Dresden, then she can kind of is also guilty by association. So that didn't help either. And that's where this is the part where Harry kind of figures all that, like pieces that all together and figures that out, and feels even worse about it. Then he realizes that's why Murphy didn't make a big deal about Agent Deborah Ben. Like that whole situation is like she can't afford to let it be known to Eternal Affairs and her boss that she was working in an area that was out of her jurisdiction with Harry. So it's like, okay, we're just going to sweep all that under the rug, even though you did try to kill me. During this discussion, Murphy does slow down and switch to the slow lane. And that's when Harry kind of notices a car that also switches and slows down. He's like, huh, okay, we might be being followed, and then kind of just keeps an eye on it as well. This is also where we find out a little more information about the individual killings. Like you were saying, there's the gangsters, the old lady. Then I didn't write down his name. Or, no, I didn't write down his name, but it's a rich guy who's more associated with Marcone. And now we have Spike dying, so there's more of a connection there. And then she talked about how the FBI not how the FBI got involved, but how the FBI changed or found some things, specifically the redhead, Roger Harris, found some irregularities in the evidence, that there were like wolf-like attacks or animal attacks. They think it's someone who is trying to make it look like a wolf attack. Of course they do. Like, obviously. They're like, werewolves? No.
The cult that made knives and things out of wolf teeth, and they're
exactly. And there was an accident.
And the incident with the gunshot with the FBI, would be bad on Murphy, but
exactly. Yep, exactly. And Murphy's the only one who made the connection with the full moon cycle and the killings, mixed with all of the wolf-like attacks. She doesn't say it, at least I don't remember, but that's what makes her come to Dresden. It's like, okay, this looks like it smells like a wolf, smells like a werewolf. I need Dresden's help. But the FBI found that there was 2 different bite mark weapons on the victims, and Harry's like, okay, so there's 2 different bite marks, so there's at least 3 different werewolves, not 2, 3. And that's pretty much all the information that Murphy could give Harry. And she's like, all right, what can you tell me? And he does the whole like, well, I never really studied them. I don't know a whole lot. I can tell you more of what they aren't than what they are. Tell you what, I'll do some digging tonight. I'll get you a full report of everything I can find by tomorrow. And immediately I'm like, bullshit. You know way more about these things, and what are you planning? No, he doesn't. Yeah, bite mark weapons, exactly. Multiple choppy pates, exactly. What did you think? Do you believe him? Did you?
No, it's kind of like, oh, come on, dude. Like, you just told her you're going to tell her the truth, and then, like, oh. And then he doesn't...
He's trying to protect her again.
Again? Yeah, and in this case, information is good. Share the information, please. Come on.
Yeah, she already knows, like, she got attacked by the scorpion. She knows, like, that there's other stuff going on here.
She doesn't remember that, though, she said. Scorpion.
I don't believe it.
It says in
she
the...
did say that, you're right. She
did
say that. But I don't believe it. I think she remembers everything.
I would hope so.
Because I think she remembers everything, and that's partly why she didn't call Dresden sooner. Like, because these were multiple killings, and she must have figured out that there was a weird connection much earlier than this, at least by maybe the second killing.
She didn't want to go to him, obviously.
No, and yeah, maybe because she didn't want to. Going to him might have, like, caused her to confront all of it. To, like, maybe she's trying to, like, push it away,
Yeah, you know how it's not easy to go talk, when you have to
Yeah.
like have that conversation. I don't want to. So you got to put it off, and even though you need to do it, but you put it off. Very human.
Oh, Christy does say her hands were tied with the internal affairs
And
of
that too.
watching her. Yeah, that too. I don't know. I don't believe her. I think she does remember, but that is true. There's a lot more to it than that. Um. Yeah. Then so she drops Harry off at the Blue Beetle, and he's kind of like sitting there in his car, kind of struggling with what to do next. It's like he just told Murphy that he wasn't going to lie to her. He needs to get her a lead. He feels terrible that she's in this situation because of him, and that he needs to bring a home run to her. Like he needs to help her.
That's when he started with the
Dresden.
magic.
Yeah, that's when exactly he starts with the magic. And he decides like I need to protect Murphy. I need to help Murphy. So he gets out, rolling into chapter 5. Rolling. He gets out the glass shard, or well, the blood covered glass shard. Specifically, the blood's the important part. Takes the compass off of his dashboard, which I don't know if you've ever seen him or remember. My grandparents had like an old van, like one of those big vans that were like, excuse me, almost like buses, like mini buses,
Mhm.
and they had a compass in the front that was like a half circle, and like here, let me see if I can find a picture.
Oh, I know
It just
exactly
reminded
what they
me
were.
of that. You know what I'm
I'm
talking
pretty
about?
sure that's exactly what it was. Yeah, that's what it sounds
That's what it sounded like. Yeah.
like. One of those little bobbly ones, and you have it, and it kind of like you can see it wobbling a
Yeah.
bit, suspended.
It's kind of. Oh, this isn't on stream. I can't even bring it up. Well, you get the idea. You know exactly what I'm talking about. It's suspended. It's wobbly. It's like a half circle. Some of them are like full circles, but it just reminded me of that, and I was like, hell yeah, that just made me happy. Um, anyway, he takes out the glass shard. He does a similar process with the drawing a chalk circle with the what was it? It was
It was the
it was
guy's
in the first
blood
book.
from the first one under his nails.
Oh yeah. And he like enhanced his nose and like sniffed him out. That's right. But in this case, he does it to the compass, and it was instead of him smelling it, the compass just like points in the direction of the killer, or well that so it's either pointing to the person who killed him because it's Spike's blood, or it's the killer's blood. I was a little unclear about that.
Well,
We weren't
so
sure whose blood it was.
yeah, so it's somebody that was there at least. We don't know if they were the
Right.
killer, but they
Right.
definitely
Okay.
had their blood there.
Okay. Um, and he kind of, and then he gets in the beetle and oh, before that, sorry, I missed something. When Murphy dropped him off, he noticed that car was still following, and like when she stopped, it drove on by, and when Murphy left, it circled back around and
Yeah.
drove off.
He
Not
saw
following Murphy, well, following Murphy, but it turned the other way.
Yeah. So it was well, yeah, it followed and then it kept so he saw them or drive by and it was a woman with like graying hair, I guess,
Mhm.
description. And then went off.
I think he said striking features too.
Yeah, straight.
So, but he did mention it was like hair that was starting to go gray. And then he started doing the magic, and he took off following the compass, which is funny because then he talked about like the compass obviously wasn't like a GPS. It's like turn right on this road, turn left. It just is a direct pointer. So he's just like, and he has to deal with Chicago traffic, so he's like having to weave through these streets and stuff, and how much it was just kind of a pain. But eventually he turns on to 55th Street, which he said is not a good part of town. He said it was passing the park and heading towards the university, I believe. But I loved the description of the bad part of town because he's like, we can all see it. We all kind of know like what a bad part of town looks like or the signs of it. But then he was like, it's a common place for like trolls, like bridge trolls and vampires before they can make contact with lesser vampires or Bianca in the area. They go to places like this to prey on the weak. And it's like, oh, it's like the bad part of town for magical things too. It's just the bad part all around. And I thought that was kind of cool, just how it mixed with what we would think of as normal society and the magical realm. So that was pretty cool. I like that. And then eventually he comes to the abandoned department store, and that's where the compass leads him. And then he confirms the compass is pointing into the building. He goes to his trunk and gets his weaponry, which he has his blasting rod, of course. He has a new defense bracelet, and he had something else. I don't remember what it was. Blasting rod, defense bracelet. He has a pendant with him.
He's got the pendant. I thought. Oh, he grabbed his gun, his Magnum. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Yeah. He grabbed his revolver as well, and headed in, keeping a keen lookout for traps, which he found. I thought it was so funny that it's like he found the most rudimentary trap ever. He pushed on panels until one opened up, and he found a string with little bells on it, and I kind of chuckled
Classic.
To that.
But hey,
yeah,
whatever works.
And so he's able to disarm it and sneak in. The whole time he was doing this, he was kind of telling himself, like, I'm doing this for Murphy. Like, I'm looking for clues for Murphy so she can come here and stake this out and find the killer and stuff. But I don't feel like that was, like, it could be taken one of two ways. Either that's what was driving him, or that's what he was using to try and stop himself to go further. And that's what I thought. Like, I feel like his own curiosity of finding what was going on and taking care of the threat himself is what kept driving him further in. But he tried to tell himself, I need to retreat. I need to get out of here because this is enough that I need to give to Murphy. And he just kept telling himself that, but it never worked. He just kept going deeper and deeper. What did you think?
Well, I think so. He needed more information. So, like, he didn't have enough to go on.
At first, yeah.
So he gets in there. He crawls in a little deeper, and because he needs like a description. He's gonna need a face. He's gonna need some sort of information that he could pin on these people, because this might be a little hideout for like the night. This isn't necessarily their location of interest. This is just some weird shanty building that they're in at the moment. So it's not like, he could call her there, but he's not going to find anything. What if these guys, slip the coop? He needs something. So a visual, some description, anything like that. What they're talking about, such, of course, is.
Yeah, that is true. He does need a little bit more than just the outside building. And then he keeps going further and further in, sneaking through, which I thought was actually a really cool description of the a skeletonized store, like with empty shelves and stuff. It seemed very like familiar but very creepy.
Right, like the shattered light bulbs, fluorescent.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I could really easily see it in my mind's eye. But I thought Jim Butcher did a really good job describing it, and I just kind of liked it. Then he heard voices, and then he went further in and found two groups of kids arguing, or a group of kids arguing. Two heads of the group were mainly the ones arguing. There was a boy who I thought the description of him was really funny. It was just like, I think he said something like, this kid would more fit in. How do you word it? You'd more likely see this kid wearing a pocket protector than spiky gloves, but he was wearing spiky gloves and leather and stuff. They seemed very punkish. Like there was one with a tattoo on his neck. There was, lots of leather. It's just kind of what you normally think of as riffraff and punks hanging out in an abandoned warehouse.
Not very intimidating, but they were wearing like the punk clothes and stuff, Like they're all college age kids, maybe.
Exactly. They were wearing the punk like attire and stuff, but they looked way out of place.
Hey DJ,
like you said, they were like kids. Hey DJ, what's up, man? And the boy, who we find out his name's Billy, he said specifically, we can't allow ourselves to rest until we found them all. and torn them apart. Okay, well, kind of confirms that. And then the girl, was it Georgia or
Which
Girl Georgia?
now that I think about it, after he's fine that and torn them apart, was he? See, we don't have confirmation about because it sounds like he is talking about it, but maybe he wasn't. This is interesting. Okay, I like this.
And then the girl, Georgia, I may have wrote her name down wrong. I'm not sure, but
No,
let's just say Georgia.
I think that's right.
She said that she, quote, told us not to move again tonight, which also kind of confirms it's like, it sounds like they're up to no good, but maybe it's just a coincidence. And at this point, I think this is when Harry was just like, all right, I have enough. I need to get out of here. And then we hear a woman's voice interject, and the lady that was not tailgating, following them in the car, comes out of the shadows, and she kind of she asked what's going on with to the kids and everything, and one of them was going to say something, and then she stops them and like kind of looks right where Harry's hiding, not at him but in the general direction, and then she kind of gets a little closer and apparently smells him, and then she tells all of them to like join hands and come quick, and then she puts out the lantern.
She also,
and it's pitch black.
Before that, she mentioned that she had been followed there.
Oh yes, she did. Yes, which that's a good point, because even Harry's like, how did she know that she was followed? Yeah. And that's when she hones in on him and smells him. But it's pitch black. Harry kind of stumbles through. Someone or something attacks him, and he tries to get the blasting rod off, and it throws the blasting rod away.
He smacks him though. Yeah.
Him.
He smacks him with it.
Him, that's true.
Didn't cast anything. Just smacks him, and then get smacked out of his hand pretty easily.
And then tripped by something, or shouldered by something. He loses his balance and falls over. And then presumably all of them scatter because nothing else attacks him, and then he tries to follow him, stumbling through the dark, which I can totally see, like, because Harry being described as kind of lanky and wiry, I can kind of just see him stumbling in the dark and just like bumping into things. I think he even said he's clumsy at some point. I might be misremembering that, in the previous book, but
he was able to light up his pendant at least a little bit, which didn't
true.
sound like the best, like, because he's still tripping over things that are just on the floor, but.
And then he's able to see the back door, or a door, an exit, and he runs out of it and immediately gets hit in the back by something that causes him to like fall over, and then someone puts a knee in his back and a gun to the back of his head and says, drop the gun or I'll blow your head off. And that's where the chapter ends, and I was like, oh my god, what?
Yep.
I need more. But
yeah, I'll admit I read the next chapter because I was like,
I didn't.
I did because I don't know, so I did read the next one.
I don't blame you. I wanted to, but then I was like, I finished it this morning, so I was like, I need to. Or did I finish it last night? I don't remember. I finished it, and I was like, I need to write the notes now, or else I'm going to read this next chapter. So I wrote the notes instead. Yeah, but I thought it was a great.
Good start, right? Right back in.
It was Georgia? Okay.
Yeah, you nailed it.
I thought her name was like Georgina or something.
I was Georgia.
I was like, no, I think it's Georgia.
Yeah,
okay.
the blonde one. He's like standing up to this guy, and he's like, "I'll take you, girl." Like, oh, he was like getting all aggressive and stuff, being all wolfy. Clearly, very wolfy though.
They were.
Because he calls them alphas, like the ones behind her.
And he growled too.
And he growls. He's growling.
He actually growled. But Harry was like, yeah, they're like, they look like they're going to a sci-fi convention or something, part of the sci-fi club or something. They're a bunch of nerds, but they're acting like these punk wolf teenage. Oh, what was it? Oh man, I wish I wrote it down. He said it was something like nerdy teenage wolf or something like that. Here, I'll look it up.
DJ.
What did you think of that chapter?
I thought it was good, but man, that cliffhanger is a slap. Oh my gosh, just I didn't know it was gonna happen. It sounded like there should have been some more of a fight at that point. Like, and the fact that Billy just slapped his blasting rod and like he draws his gun and he's standing there like, yeah, definitely. So, 100% werewolves, DJ, 100%, like for sure.
Well, that is a really good point because like if they're the ones who just killed him, they just eviscerated a dude.
So yeah, they could have.
And they didn't attack
They could have.
Harry except for like tripping him.
Right? Okay. Yeah. Right. What?
That seems weird. Feels like there's something more going on. Oh, I can't find it. It was such a good quote. Oh, he said, "Holy, I was a teenage werewolf, Batman." And I was
Yeah.
like, "Yes, that's such a good line."
Kind of reminds me of what was that like Teen Wolf show with
Yeah,
what's his
I think it's just called Teen Wolf.
yeah Teen Wolf.
Fox.
Yeah,
Something.
Michael J. Fox. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Never seen it, but I heard about it. Yeah, it sounded very, very good. But yeah, I loved it. I was the same. I thought it was really good. I loved. I was kind of curious if Jim Butcher was going to introduce new characters or how he was going to introduce new characters. I really liked the introduction of Kim because
Yeah.
it was such a.
I'm really worried about that
Sure.
having to do
Yeah.
like in the end game. You know, like was Kim involved? I'm already thinking every possibility is going through. Every character is a suspect.
So with that whole spell, and she said it was just like academic curiosity. I don't believe that at all.
Yeah, no, not even a little bit, right?
No, if she's the apprentice of the Harry Dresden, she's just not. She's not going to be curious. She's going to want to find out what it is. And based off his description, that's going to go really, really bad. I hope it doesn't. I hope I'm wrong, but I don't think that's going to go well. We'll see.
Yeah, DJ.
Yeah,
she's definitely a werewolf, 100%. Because he gets slapped by something that's much stronger and faster than him. Which
we just don't know if they're the killers.
If they're
werewolves.
That is our question at this point. They didn't kill Harry right there, or at least like beat him up, hurt him, anything like that, which is pretty weird if they were like these murderous. Because what they did to Spike, holy crap! He ripped his face to pieces, eviscerated his body, just.
I just got a weird thought. What if, because Billy said we need to go out and find all of them and tear them apart, and she said we need to. Georgia said we need to stay there, or she said we need to stay there and not move again tonight. What if it's a different wolf pack? What if these ones are just like trying to hide and survive, and he's talking about going out and tearing the murderous wolf pack apart?
That's like that. Oh man.
Maybe.
This is gonna get good, man. This is gonna.
It's gonna get really good. I totally agree. Cool. Well, any last thoughts or anything else you want to talk about before we wrap up?
I'm just pumped to read more of it so far, and I think it's gonna be a good hitter. So it sounded like, at least from some of the people that have read these books before, that we're gonna go 1, 2, and then they're just gonna keep picking up steam as we go. So
I think book 5 or so is when we've been told that. Well, okay, so the first 4-ish are contained stories. Like you can read each individual book by themselves and they have their own story. But around 5 is when the continuous story starts, and I think that's what you meant by picks up.
That's I love these little bits because it's going to be a lot of world building, a lot of character building.
Yeah.
And I think it's completely necessary and then once we get to like the bigger arc, sure, it's gonna be worth our time.
Absolutely agree. Well, thank you all. Next Saturday we're going to be doing the next part, which is chapter 6 through 10, next 5 chapters, and super excited just to do all this stuff. If you want to join us, discuss it, read along. Have any suggestions, you're welcome to join the Discord. There is a book club section where you can throw all your comments in there or just say hi in general, hang out. Loads of fun. We also stream. This week's going to be weird in terms of streaming. We're going to have to talk about it because our normal stream schedule is going to be
Gonna be different.
It's going to be different because I have to close a lot of servers. 2 of the servers are already closed. I think the 7 Days to Die one is still up for like 2 days. But yeah, we'll be streaming this week. Anything else?
No, just want to say thanks to everybody and appreciate everybody hanging out. Hope you had fun and are enjoying the book as much as we are.
Yeah, absolutely. We love doing these. It's different than our normal content, and looking forward to the next one. Thank you. Thank you, Xeno, my beautiful host. Thank you all. Have a wonderful day, and we'll see you next time.
See you guys.